the warm grass care notes of the big-headed mushroom umbrella after the rain in the green grass field, a round and big-headed mushroom emerged. It was called Umbrella. The cap of the umbrella is like an open cream umbrella, snow white, with small brown spots on it. The stem is thick and very sturdy. Standing steadily in the grass, the dewdrops on it are like small pearls scattered all over the ground. The ladybug mother always says umbrella is a little rest stop in the grass. It looks cute, but its heart is softer than the morning dew. That early morning, little Aunt Guago led the team to carry sugar grains. Suddenly, a light drizzle began to fall. Guagu shouted anxiously, "Find a place to shelter from the rain quickly." Umbrella quickly shook the cap of the mushroom and shouted loudly, "Guagu, come down here quickly." The little ants lined up and crawled under the mushroom cap. The raindrops trickled down the edge of the umbrella. Guagu waved her antennae and said, "Thank you, umbrella. Your mushroom cap is even stronger than a leaf shed. It's so reassuring to hide here." In the morning, the sun slowly rose. The little snail got tired from crawling and wanted to find a place to rest. When Umbrella saw this, she deliberately tilted the mushroom cap to a place with less sunlight to create a shady spot. "Take your time, come and rest here quickly." Slowly climbing to the stem of the fungus, I dozed off in the shell and woke up saying, "Thank you, Umbrella. Your shadow is more comfortable than a mat. I have the strength to climb again." At noon, the little butterfly's colorful wings were dirty with mud and water, and it couldn't fly. It was so anxious that it cried. Umbrella let the dewdrops on the mushroom caps drip down and land in front of CICI. Then it used the soft gills of the mushrooms to wipe its wings. CICI. Wipe it with the dewdrops and it will fly soon. CICI licked the dew, wiped her wings clean, flapped them and flew around Umbrella. "Thank you, Umbrella. Your dewdrops are cleaner than clear water. I can fly again." In the afternoon, the little girl Duadwu from the neighbor's house came to the grassland to pick wildflowers, hoping to find a special little ornament. She immediately spotted the big-headed umbrella, squatted down and gently touched the cap. "Wow, this mushroom is so cute, like a little hat." Umbrella gently shook the mushroom cap, shaking off the small dewdrops on it, as if greeting Duadwo. Duadwo smiled and placed the wildflowers she had picked beside Umbrella. In the evening, it began to drizzle again. Umbra thought of the little cricket Lele, which lived under the grass leaves. Its little nest was unobstructed. Umbrella quickly invited the little mushrooms beside her to approach her, used the caps to form a large mushroom umbrella formation, and moved Lele's little nest to the very center. When the raindrops fell, Lele was singing under the umbrella array. "Thank you, Umbrella. Your mushroom caps are warmer than small tents." The setting sun dyed the grassland a warm golden hue. The friends gathered around Umbrella and held a small sharing session. Gawago brought sweet sugar grains, slowly shared the tender grass leaves, and Duodwo brought fragrant petals. Umbrella stood in the middle. The spots on the mushroom cap looked like they were sprinkled with gold powder under the setting sun. It said, "I'm the happiest when I can help everyone." The ladybug mother smiled and said, "Umbrella's big head is cute, but her helpful heart is even more precious." When the moon rose, Umbrella was still standing on the grass, its mushroom cap bathed in moonlight, as if it were draped in a layer of silver gauze. Because of the big-headed mushroom umbrella, this small meadow has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more pleasant than sweet sugar grains and more blissful than round mushroom caps. The cute and heartwarming underwater story of the pink big-eyed fish. Beside the colorful coral reef, there swims a soft, pink big-eyed fish. Its name is Meng Meng. Meng Meng's body is like a pink cotton candy. The most distinctive feature is her pair of big round eyes, like two shiny pink crystals. Her tail is in the shape of a light pink gauze skirt, gently swaying as she swims. Behind her, there is a string of tiny bubbles. Ninny, the clownfish, always says Meng Meng is a little lantern in the ocean. Her eyes are bright and her heart is warmer than coral. That early morning, the little starfish, Xing Xing, accidentally turned over and got stuck in a coral crevice with its belly facing up, unable to turn over no matter how hard it tried. Meng Meng swam over quickly, gently pressed her body against the side of the star, and swung her tail vigorously to help it with the support. Star, come on, it'll be turned over right away. The star turned straight with a gurgle and lay on the rock, saying, "Thank you, Meng Meng. Your strength is more effective than a small fader. I'm finally free." In the morning, the fog at the bottom of the sea was a bit thick. Little seahorse Tiao Tiao couldn't find her mother and was so anxious that she was spinning around in place. Meng Meng immediately opened her eyes wide, her pink pupils shining in the mist. She led Tiao Tiao to swim towards the seaweed bed where her seahorse mother often went, and from time to time she would touch Tiao Tiao with her tail. "Don't be afraid, follow my eyes." Soon, Tiao Tiao threw herself into her mother's arms and turned around to shout, "Meng Meng, your eyes are brighter than a navigation light." At noon, a small hole appeared in the shell of the little hermit crab, and the cold seawater rushed in. Meng Meng remembered the empty conch she had hidden under the stone and quickly swam over with it in her mouth. "Zixi, this new house is for you." Zixi dived into the smooth conch and happily said, "Thank you, Meng Meng. This house is even more comfortable than the old one. How considerate." In the afternoon, the little girl Duaduo from the neighbor's house came to the seaside for snorkeling and immediately saw the pink Meng Meng. Meng Meng was not at all afraid of strangers. She swam to Duadua's mask, her big eyes blinking, and she even blew out a string of bubbles, as if greeting her. Duadua smiled and waved her hand, gently scattering the brine shrimp she had brought into the sea. Meng Meng picked one up and wagged her tail at Duadua. In the evening, a small whirlpool suddenly blew up at the bottom of the sea, and the little jellyfish Shushui was tossed about. Meng Meng quickly swam to Shushui's side, blocking the force of the whirlpool with her body and leading it to hide in the crevice of the coral reef. Shushui, it's safe to hide here. Shushui steadied herself in the gap, her glowing skirt gently swaying. Thank you, Meng Meng. You are more reliable than the reef. I'm not the least bit panicked. The setting sun dyed the sea surface a pinkish-orange color, and the light filtered through the water and fell on the coral reefs. The friends gathered around Meng Meng and held a small sharing session. Xing Xing brought fresh seaweed, Zixi presented smooth pebbles, and Duardwo scattered sweet fish food. Meng Meng opened her big eyes, held fish food in her mouth, and wagged her tail like a little dress, feeling warm in her heart. Ninny. The clownfish said, "Cute big eyes are beautiful, and a helpful heart shines even brighter." When the moon rose, Meng Ming lay among the coral reefs, her big eyes still shining faintly. Because of the pink big-eyed fish Meng Meng, this small underwater world has become more lively and more reassuring. Such days are more delicious than sweet fish food and more blissful than the chubby body. A warm and fun memory of a fish tank with red goldfish bubbles in the transparent glass fish tank. A bright red little goldfish is swimming. Its name is Bobo. The scales of the bubbles are like red silk sprinkled with gold powder. Their round and plump eyes are like two black gems, and their tails spread out like small fans. When swimming, they swing their tails with a whoosh whoosh sound and spit out strings of shiny little bubbles. The little turtle slowly always says, "Bubbles are the little suns in the fish tank, with bright appearances and hearts softer than water plants." That early morning, the little shrimp, Mimi, got its antennae entangled by water plants and was spinning round in place in a panic. Bubbles swam over quickly, gently pushed aside the water plants with its tail, and spat out bubbles to help Millie straighten its antennae. "Millie, don't panic. I'll help you." Millie waved her antennae and swam up, smiling and saying, "Thank you, Bubble. Your tail is more dexterous than a pair of scissors. I'm free." In the morning, sunlight streamed in through the fish tank. Little Snail longed to bask in the sun, but was always blocked by stones. Bubble swam to the stone and gently pushed the small pebble with his body, making way for Yowoo to find a sunny spot. "Yowoo, come here to warm up." Yowui lay in the light, slowly unfurling her shell and saying, "Thank you, Bubble. Your strength is even greater than that of a small cart. The sunshine is so pleasant." At noon, the little owner, Duardwo, changed the water in the fish tank and accidentally messed up the small colored stones, burying Yoayu's little house. Bubbles immediately swam over, picked up the colorful stones with their mouths, placed them back in their original positions one by one, and also helped Yoiu lick the mud and sand off the shells clean. Duodwo leaned over the edge of the tank and smiled. "Bow, bow, you are such a hard-working little helper. The fish tank has become neater." In the afternoon, the little boy Lele from the neighbor's house came to visit and wanted to see the goldfish that could blow bubbles. The bubbles deliberately did somersaults in the water, swinging their tails even more vigorously, and spitting out a long string of bubbles that were connected together like a string of transparent little pearls. Lele clapped her hands and shouted, "Bubbles are so amazing. These bubbles are even more beautiful than crystal balls." In the evening, the small water plants in the fish tank seemed a bit wilted. After noticing this, Bubble would sweep the fish food residue at the bottom of the tank to one side with its tail every day and blow bubbles at the water plants to let the water flow carry nutrients to nourish them. It was long before the water plants turned lush green and swayed gently in the wind. "Thank you, Babu. You are such a considerate companion. We are full of energy again." The setting sun dyed the fish tank a warm red. The friends gathered around the water plant and held a small sharing session. Millie brought fresh plankton, Yoayu offered smooth pebbles, and Dudu scattered sweet fish food. Bubba was holding fish food in her mouth, her tail swinging like a small flag, feeling warm in her heart. The little turtle said slowly, "The red scales of the bubble are beautiful, and its helpful heart shines even brighter." When the moon rose, Bubble lay beside the water plants, blowing small bubbles and falling asleep. Because of the red goldfish bubbles, this small fish tank has become more lively and vivid. Such days are more delicious than sweet fish food and more blissful than the bright red scales. The warm grassland care story of Huang Duxiang Dundan. On the golden tropical grassland, there is a majestic yellow elephant walking. Its name is Dundan. Dundan's skin is like sun-dried wheat straw, shining with a warm luster. Her long nose is like a flexible little water pipe. Her big ears flap like two banana leaf fans, and her forelegs are as thick as small pillars. When she walks, she makes a thump-thump sound. Little zebra Tiao Chow always says, "Dun Dun is the guardian of the grassland." She has a grand appearance and a heart warmer than the sun. That early morning, the little giraffe Duadru could unreach the tall acacia leaves and was so hungry that she kept licking her lips. Dun Dun hurriedly walked to the tree, rolled her long nose around the branch and gave it a gentle pull. The tender leaves fell down. "Duo, Duo, come and eat." Duodwo chewed a leaf and shook her long neck, saying, "Thank you, Dundan. Your nose works better than a small ladder. The leaves are so delicious." In the morning, the sun made the grassland warm and cozy. The little antelopes were panting beside the rocks. Dundan hurriedly ran to the riverbank, sucked up water with her nose, gently sprayed water at the bleats, and then fanned her big ears very fast. Come and cool off. The cool water splashed on their bodies. The bleats jumped and said, "Brother Dundan, your nose is more wonderful than a watering can, and your ears are more comfortable than a gazebo." At noon, little lion Tuonchuan accidentally fell into a pit and couldn't climb up, crying out in anxiety. Dundan slowly walked to the edge of the pit and lowered his long nose. Tuan, hold my nose. Tuan held its nose tightly. With a gentle pull from Dundon, it was rescued and the dirt on its body was also brushed off. Tuan rubbed against Dundon's leg and said, "Thank you, Dundon. Your nose is stronger than a rope. So reliable." In the afternoon, the little boy Lely from the neighbour's house came to camp on the grassland and accidentally dropped his toy car into the bushes. When Dundon saw this, he carefully pushed aside the branch with his long nose and rolled out the toy car as if it were a treasure hunt. Gently placing it in front of Lely, Lely held the toy car and smiled. "Dundon, you are such a smart, big friend. My toy car is back." In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky, and it seemed that a heavy rain was about to fall. Dundon recalled the family of little marmots at the edge of the grassland, whose burrows were easily flooded. Dundon quickly built a high mound of earth around the cave with his nose and feet, and used his big ears to block the strong wind blowing in. When the raindrops fell, the marmot family was steadily in their cave, potting their heads out and expressing their gratitude repeatedly. The setting sun dyed the grassland a warm yellow. The friends gathered by the pond and held a small sharing session. Duardwo brought sweet leaves, Baimayo presented fresh and tender green grass, and Lely brought sweet fruits. Dundon rolled up the fruit with her nose, her eyes narrowed into slits, and her heart felt warm. Little zebra Tiao said, "Dundon's yellow skin is beautiful, and her helpful heart shines even brighter." When the moon rose, Dundon stood by the pond, and her long nose occasionally sprayed water. Because of the yellow elephant Dwen, this small grassland has become safer and more lively. Such days are more delicious than sweet fruits and make people feel happier than warm sunshine. Sweet memories of the little bee buzzing in the garden. In the sunlit garden lived a tiny bee, and everyone called her Buzz. She has a coat of yellow and black fur, like wearing a striped little coat. Her wings are transparent and thin. When she flies, they buzz, 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 like a small helicopter nimbling among the flowers. Buzzing's favorite thing is to collect nectar. She knows which rose is the most fragrant and which rose patch is the sweetest. She also turns the collected nectar into sweet honey and shares it with her friends in the garden. That early morning, Weng had just picked the first drop of nectar from the morning glory when she heard a soft woo cry. It was little butterfly Dion. It was her first time in the garden, and she couldn't find the most fragrant flower. Her wings were tired from flying, and she still hadn't smelled the satisfactory fragrance. She was so anxious that she stopped on the grass leaf and wiped away her tears. Weng hurriedly flew to Dion's side, shook his antennae and said, Dion, don't worry. I'll take you to find the most fragrant flower." She took Dion and first flew to the pergola filled with wisteria flowers, then to the golden sunflowers. Every time they reached a flower, she let Dion smell its fragrance. Dion smelled the sweet fragrance of flowers and immediately smiled. "Thank you, Weng. Your nose is more sensitive than a little bell. These flowers are so fragrant. In the morning, as the sun rose slowly, Lele, a little ladybug in the garden, was looking for aphids on the leaves to eat. But after searching for a long time, she couldn't find them, and her stomach was growling with hunger. When Wang Wang was gathering honey, he happened to see many aphids on a leaf. He quickly flew to Lele's side and pointed in the direction with his antennae. "Lele, come here quickly. There are many aphids over there." Lele followed Wang Wang and flew over. Sure enough, she saw a dense swarm of aphids and happily ate them. She also shook Wang Wang's back shell and said, "Thank you, Wang Wang. You are truly my little food guide. I'm finally full." At noon, the little girl Duaduo from the neighbor's house came to the garden to draw. She wanted to draw a glowing flower, but after drawing for a long time, she still felt it was not vivid enough. Wang Wang was passing by while collecting nectar. Seeing Duaduo frowning, he quickly stopped on the most colorful rose. Flapping his wings gently to blow the fragrance of the nectar towards Duaduo, he also crawled around on the petals, allowing Duaduo to clearly see the patterns on the petals. Duaduo suddenly got an inspiration and began to draw based on the shapes of the rose and Wang. After finishing, she held up the drawing paper and smiled at Wang, saying, "Wang, look, there are sweet flowers and you in my painting. How beautiful." It buzzed twice, as if clapping for her. In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Buzzing, I recalled the little daisies in the corner of the garden that had just bloomed. Their petals were still very tender and would wilt if they got wet by the rain. She hurriedly flew to the window of Grandpa Zhong, the garden keeper, buzzing and from time to time flying towards the little daisies. Grandpa Zhong understood the meaning of buzzing and quickly brought a small plastic shed to cover the little daisies. Just as it was covered, raindrops began to fall with a drip-drip sound. Grandpa Zhong waved at Wang Wang and said, "Thanks to Wang Wang, the little daisies didn't get soaked." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the garden orange red. Buzzing returned to the beehive and, together with his friends, turned the nectar collected today into sweet honey. She also specially brought a small drop of honey and flew to Dion Dion, Lala and Duo Duo's side. Dion Dion tasted the honey and flapped her wings even more joyfully. Lele licked the honey and thought it was sweeter than an aphid. Duoduo spread honey on the small cookies and ate with a smile that narrowed her eyes. Buzzing looked at everyone's smiling faces, her heart filled with sweetness. Suddenly, she felt that gathering honey was not just for herself. Sharing the sweetness with friends was happier than enjoying it alone. When the moon rose, Buzzing lay in the beehive, listening to the chirping of insects outside. Recalling today's efforts to help Dion Dion find flowers, point out delicious food for let's draw pictures with Duoduo, and remind Grandpa Zhong to protect the flowers. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl up. It turns out that even a tiny bee can, through its own diligence and enthusiasm, become a sweet little messenger in the garden, bringing the fragrance of flowers and joy to every friend. Such days are sweeter than sweet honey and more beautiful than transparent wings. A warm and busy record of a strong brown bear in the forest, in the autumn forest covered with fallen leaves. There lived a strong brown bear named Juangguang. Juangguang's fur is like softened caramel, feeling warm to the touch. Her round face is set with two big black and bright eyes. Her claws are thick but flexible. When she walks, the thump-thump sound is like a small drum. Grandma Squirrel always says Juangguang is the little support of the forest. She has a solid appearance and a heart warmer than a roasted sweet potato. One early morning, little squirrel Tauto was carrying pine cones into a tree hole when she accidentally slipped and fell into a pile of fallen leaves. Juangguang hurried over, gently lifted Tauto and the scattered pine cones with his paws, and steadily sent them back to the tree hole. Tao leaned against the hole and shouted, "Thank you, Juangguang. Your claws are even more stable than a small basket. You've saved all the pine cones." In the morning, the sun was warm and cozy. Little hedgehog Kuki wanted to carry the wild fruits she had collected home, but there were too many fruits to bear. Duangshuang found a large paulownia leaf and used his paws to press it into an arc to make a fruit plate to help Kuki hold the wild fruit. Kuki followed beside and said, "Brother Juangguang, your hands are even more effective than a small cart. Not a single wild fruit has fallen off." At noon, little fox Hong Hong was drinking water by the stream when she accidentally scraped her scarf onto a branch. Juangguang stood on tiptoe, gently touching the scarf with his long paws and helping Hong Hong shake off the grass leaves on it. Hong Hong, wrapped in a warm scarf, said, "Thank you, Wengzhuang. Your height is even more reliable than a big tree. I'm not afraid of the cold anymore." In the afternoon, the little girl Duarduo from the neighbor's house came to the forest to pick maple leaves. She got lost and sat on a rock crying. Duangaswang heard the crying and walked over slowly. He gently rubbed Duarduo's hand back with his nose and then led the way slowly in front, looking back at her from time to time. Duarduo followed Juangguang and soon saw the familiar little wooden house. In the evening, a light drizzle began to fall from the sky. Juangguang thought of the new family of birds that had moved in. Their nest had not yet been reinforced. Juangguang quickly fetched dry branches and dry grass, carefully placed them around the bird's nest with his paws, and also found a large lotus leaf to cover it. When the raindrops fell, the mother bird kept chirping and thanking her in her nest. The setting sun dyed the forest a warm orange. The friends gathered around Juangguang's tree hole and held a small sharing session. Tao Tao brought the most fragrant pine cones, Kuki brought sweet wild fruits, and Duarduo brought honey cookies. Duangguang sat in the middle, munching on a biscuit, his eyes narrowed into small crescent moons. Grandma Squirrel smiled and said, "The strong brown fur looks nice, but a kind and warm-hearted heart is even more precious." When the moon rose, Juangguang lay in a tree hole filled with dry grass, listening to the chirping of insects in the forest. With crumbs of biscuits still sticking to the corners of his mouth. Because of the brown bear Juangashuang, this small forest has become warmer and more reassuring. Such days are even happier than sweet honey. The heartwarming underwater story of the orange-finned little fish Orange in the shallow coral sea. There swims a shiny little fish. Its name is Orange. Orange's body is like it's smeared with orange marmalade. Its orange-yellow scales are giving off a soft glow. Its dorsal and caudal fins have a faint orange-red color. When it swims, it looks like a moving little maple leaf. The mother fish always says, "Orange is the little sun at the bottom of the sea." It's eye-catching in appearance, but warm in heart. That early morning, little seahorse Dion got lost among the seaweed and wandered around but couldn't find her mother. Orange swam over and asked softly, Dion, why are you here alone?" Dion hung her little tail and said, "I can't find my mum." Orange smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. I'll take you to look for it." It let Dion follow behind it and swim slowly along the coral reef. Its orange body stands out particularly in the water. The mother seahorse quickly found them by the color and wagged its tail at Orange. "Thank you, Orange. You are such a reliable little guide." In the morning, the sun shone through the sea. Little conch Lele wanted to climb up to the high coral to bask in the sun, but the coral was too slippery. After climbing several times, she always slipped down. Orange saw this and swam over quickly, holding Lele steadily with her body. "Lele, I'll help you get up." It swam slowly and carried Lele to the top of the coral. Lele happily turned around and said, "Thank you, Orange. Your back is more stable than a small boat. The sunshine here is so warm." At noon, the seabed was a bit muggy. Little shrimp Meng couldn't find the cool water flow and lay on the sand looking listless. Orange remembered the cold water flowing behind the coral reef and quickly said, Meng, follow me." It led Meng through the seaweed and to the cold water stream, and also helped Meng push away the small stones blocking the way. Meng soaked in the cool water and immediately perked up. "Thank you, Orange. You are such a warm-hearted friend. Cold water is more comfortable than a cool spring." In the afternoon, the little hermit crab Bibi wanted to change to a larger shell, but the new one was too heavy to carry. Orange saw this and said with a smile, "Bibi, don't worry. I'll help you push it." It held the shell with its head and Bibi pulled from behind. Together, they delivered the beautiful new shell to Bibi's home. Bibi crawled into the new shell and waved her pincers at Cheng, saying, "Thank you, Cheng. Your strength is even greater than a small cart. I finally have a new home." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the seawater a warm orange. The underwater friends gathered around the coral reefs and held a small sharing session for Orange. The little seahorse brought fresh plankton, the little conch shared sweet seaweed juice, and the little hermit crab presented smooth pebbles. Orange swam in the middle. Its orange scales glowed gently in the setting sun. It said, "I'm the happiest to be able to help everyone." Motherfish smiled and said, "Orange's orange fins are eye-catching, but her helpful heart is even more precious. When the moon rises, its moonlight spills into the ocean floor. The orange scales, reflecting the moonlight, seem to have been sprinkled with a layer of silver powder. Because of the orange-finned little fish orange, this small coral sea has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more pleasant than sweet seaweed juice and more dazzling than orange scales." The little sun on the grassland, with sunflowers blooming one after another in the center of the field, stands a golden sunflower. Her name is Duardwo's flower head is like a round little sun. Its petals are dazzling bright yellow. Inside the flower head are densely packed small melon seeds. The stem is straight like a small pillar. No matter where the sun goes, her flower head always faces the sunlight steadily. The mother field mouse always says Duardwo is the little sun in the grassland, she chasing the light herself and can also bring warmth to everyone. In the early morning, the little bee buzzed and got lost, circling around the flower beds. Duardwo quickly shook the flower tray to make the petals reflect a brighter light. "Buzz, come towards me." A buzzing sound flew in the direction of the light and landed on the flower bed. Immediately, I smelled the sweet fragrance of nectar and happily picked it up. "Thank you, Duardwo, your flower plates are more effective than road signs, and your nectar is sweeter than honey." In the morning, the sun rose higher and higher. Little hedgehog Kuki ran home with wild fruits on her back, sweating profusely from the sun. Duardwo quickly tilted the big flower plate and set up a golden canopy for Kuki. "Kuki, come and rest your feet here." Kuki crawled under the flower stem. A cool shadow immediately enveloped him. He held the wild fruit and said, "Thank you, Duardwo. Your flower beds are even more comfortable than the shade of big trees. They carry a pleasant fragrance when the wind blows." At noon, little Aunt Guagu led her team to carry cookie crumbs. Halfway through, they were stopped by a small ditch. When Duardwo saw this, she let several broad leaves hang down and rest on both sides of the ditch, forming a green leaf bridge. "Guagu, come along the leaves." The little ants lined up and climbed steadily across the leaf bridge. Guagu waved her antennae and thanked her. "Sister Duardwo, your leaves are even more stable than small wooden boards. Thank you so much." In the afternoon, a few dark clouds drifted over the sky, and it seemed that it was going to rain. Duardwo thought of the little cricket lily living under the dandelion nearby. Its wings were most afraid of moisture. Duardwo quickly lowered the flower plate, and the petals tightly closed together like a little golden umbrella covering the dandelion. "Lily, come in quickly." But when the raindrops tick-tock fell, Lele was singing under the umbrella, not getting wet at all. "Thank you, Duardwo. Your flower tray is more useful than a small flower umbrella." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the fields orange red. The little girl, Yaya, from the neighbor's house came to pick flowers. As soon as she saw Duardwo, she laughed. "Wow, this sunflower is so beautiful, just like a little sun." Yaya didn't pick her. Instead, she found some small stones to circle around the roots and watered them, saying, "I want to protect you and let you keep chasing the sun and blooming." Duodwo shook the flower tray and pointed the fullest petals towards Yaya, as if saying thank you. When the moon rises, the flower discs still retain the warmth of the sun. Looking at her sleeping friend beside her, she felt warm in her heart. Because of the blooming sunflowers, this field has become brighter and warmer. Even the evening breeze is filled with the sweet scent of a mixture of sunlight and honey. The farm fun of little red pig Tuanchuan. In the pigsty of the farm, there lived a chubby little red pig named Tuanchuan. Tuanchuan's fur is as shiny as red rouge. Her round belly is soft and fluffy. Her 4 short little legs make a dada sound when she runs. Her tail is curled into a small question mark. Grandpa, the farm owner, always says Tuanchuan is the little jockey of the farm. She is naughty and warm-hearted. She is always popular wherever she goes. Early in the morning, the little hen Hua-Hoo was giggling anxiously beside the chicken coop. Her eggs had rolled into the crack of the firewood pile and couldn't be pecked out. Tuanchuan heard the noise and rushed over with her round nose. She gently pushed aside the firewood and cracked out the eggs one by one, as if hunting for treasures. Antwawa, don't panic. It protected the egg with its soft belly and slowly pushed it towards Hua Hua Hua. Hua pecked Tuan Tuan's ear and said, "Thank you, Tuan Tuan. Your nose is more dexterous than a small shovel." In the morning, as the sun rose slowly, the little ducklings wanted to jump into the pond to swim, but the slope by the pond was too slippery. They wobbly kept falling down. Tuanchuan quickly lay down on the dirt slope, turning into a soft red carpet. "Gagas, slide down with me." The little ducks lined up, stepped onto Anchuan's back, and jumped into the pond with a thump-thump sound, happily shouting, "Brother Tuanchuan, you're even more comfortable than the little slide." At noon, the little goat, Meow Meow, couldn't find any fresh and tender grass and could only gnaw on the dry and hard straw. Tuanchuan thought of the green grassland at the back of the mountain and quickly led Meow Meow to run back up the mountain, even helping Meow Meow push aside the tall weeds. Meow Meow ate the green grass in big bites and shook Tuanchuan's horns, saying, "Thank you, Tuanchuan. You are such a reliable little guide. The green grass smells much better than straw." In the afternoon, dark clouds drifted over the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Tuanchuan recalled the corn drying in the yard. If it got wet, it would mold. It quickly used its body to push against the bamboo basket, scooped the corns one by one into the basket, and called its friends to move them to the warehouse together. When the raindrops pattered down, the corn was already safely in the warehouse. Grandpa the farmer patted Tuanchuan's head and smiled. "Our Tuanchuan is so capable." In the evening, the little girl Duadro from the neighbor's house came to the farm to play. As soon as she saw the bright red Tuanchuan, she ran over and said, "Wow. This little red pig is so cute, just like a little lantern." Duadwa gently stroked Tuanchuan's back. Tuanchuan meekly rubbed against her palm and pushed the little wildflower she had found in front of Duadwa with her nose. Duadwa clapped her hands happily and said, "Tuanchuan, you are so considerate. Let's be friends." The setting sun dyed the farm a warm red. The friends gathered in the yard and held a small sharing session. For Tu and Tuan, the hen brought fresh eggs. The duck shared dried fish, and Duadwo brought sweet carrots. Tuanchuan was lying in the middle, munching on a carrot. Her round belly was bulging, and her heart was warm. Because of the little red pig Tuanchuan, this small farm has become livelier and warmer. Even the wind is filled with the scent of happiness. A refreshing memory of the green vegetable garden with cucumbers in the corner of Grandpa's vegetable garden. There are lush green cucumber vines with plump cucumbers hanging on them. Among them, the straightest and most tender one, Grandpa named it Green Green. LV was dressed in a dark green coat on which there were fine, soft thorns. They didn't hurt her hands, but rather made her itchy. On top of her head was a small, tender yellow flower, as if she were wearing a tiny flower hat. When the wind blew, the flower hat swayed gently, and even the passing bees couldn't resist stopping on the flower to rest. Its body is cool. Even when exposed to the sun, it still feels refreshing. Grandpa always says green green is a small preserved fruit in the vegetable garden. Having a bite in summer is more comfortable than drinking ice water. That early morning, the sun was already a bit hot as soon as it rose. Little Aunt Guagu, carrying the grain on its back, ran home. After running just a few steps, it was so tired that it was panting and its tongue was almost sticking out. It was so thirsty that it couldn't find clean water. Guago climbed under the cucumber vine, smelled the refreshing scent on LV, and slowly climbed up along the vine. She waved her antennae at LV and said, "Cucumber, cucumber, could you lend me some water to drink?" LV quickly shook her body, bringing her skin closer together and gently ooting a little juice. "Guagu, don't worry, lick my skin. There's sweet juice." Guagu leaned over and licked it. The refreshing juice quenched its thirst at once. It had the strength to carry the grain on its back and waved its antennae at LV. "Thank you, LV. Your juice is sweeter than dew. I can finally go home." In the morning, the sun was getting brighter and brighter. The little snail in the vegetable garden was crawling slowly, sweating profusely. Actually, it was mucus. It wanted to find a shady place to rest for a while, but the leaves were all crowded with small insects. Slowly, I saw the green vines hanging down, like a little green rope. I quickly climbed up and lay in the middle of the vines. Wow, it's so cool here. It's like a little hammock. LV gently swayed the vines, making the hammock more comfortable and allowing the small yellow flowers above to block a bit of sunlight. Lying slowly on the vine, enjoying the breeze, I sighed comfortably. "Thank you, Green. Your vines are cooler than under the leaves. I'm no longer afraid of the sun." At noon, Duadward, a little girl from the neighbor's house, came to the vegetable garden to help her grandpa pick vegetables. She immediately saw the green vines and her eyes lit up. Grandpa, this cucumber is so green and even has small yellow flowers. It's so beautiful. Grandpa smiled and picked the green cucumber, washed it clean with clear water, and handed it to Duadward, saying, "Have a taste." The freshly picked cucumbers are the crispest and most tender. Duadward took a big bite. The crisp flesh spread out in her mouth, and the refreshing juice trickled down the corner of her mouth. She quickly wiped it and said with a smile, "It's so delicious. Green is even fresher than an apple. I'm going to take one for my good friend Leonard." She also deliberately chose a cucumber with small yellow flowers, hoping that Lele could also see this flower hat. In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly rolled in from the sky, and it seemed that a thunderstorm was about to break out. LV thought of the little ladybug Diandian living under the vine. Its back shell was cracked by the wind yesterday, and it was afraid of getting wet by the rain. LV quickly asked her grandpa to pick the big leaves beside her and cover them with Dion's little nest. The leaves were big and green, just right to keep out the rain. When the raindrops fell with a swish swish sound, the dots poked their heads out from under the leaves and waved at Green, saying, "Thank you, Green. Your leaves are stronger than my shell. I haven't got wet at all." Looking at Dion's safety, LV felt sweet in her heart. In the evening, the setting sun died, the vegetable garden orange red. Grandma cut the green leaves into thin shreds and made cold cucumber salad with black fungus and carrots, add in fragrant vinegar and sesame oil. Duadward and Lele were gathered around the dining table, vying to eat the cold cucumber salad. One bite after another, their mouths refreshing. Lele said while eating, "This is the most delicious cold dish I've ever eaten. It's all because of Green. Grandpa smiled and said, "Eating cold cucumber salad in summer is the most refreshing. When we all eat together, we'll be even happier." When the moon rose, Duadro put the little green-yellow flowers between the pages of a book and made them into bookmarks. Lying in bed, she was flipping through the book with yellow flower bookmarks, recalling the events related to LV during the day. Gradually, she fell asleep in the vegetable garden of her dream. LV was still hanging on the vine, with small yellow flowers on its head, swaying the vine, waiting to bring freshness to her friends. Because of LV, this summer's vegetable garden has become cool and sweet. Such days are more refreshing than tender cucumbers and more comfortable than the emerald green coat. 以上翻译结果来自有道神经网络翻译 YNMT 通用场景。A sweet sharing record of oranges in the fruit basket of little girl Duadwo's home. There was a pile of round oranges. Among them, the one that was the yellowest and softest was named Orange by Duadwo. Orange was wearing a bright orange-yellow coat with fine paws on it. It felt a bit rough, but very comfortable. With a gentle pinch, a faint orange fragrance could be smelled. Its fruit stem is tiny, like a small green hat. When the outer layer is peeled off, there are crescent-shaped segments of flesh inside, wrapped in a thin layer of white gauze. Take a bite, and the sweet juice mixed with a hint of sourness can make you feel sweet from the corner of your mouth to your heart. Mum always says orange. Orange is the little sun in the fruit basket. Peel it off and you can taste the flavor of the sunshine. That early morning, Dowadwa sat on the sofa, pouting her lips because she couldn't find her teddy bear and didn't even want to watch her favorite cartoon. The orange in the fruit basket seemed to notice her sadness. It rolled gently and carried the sweet fragrance to Dowadwa's side. When Mum saw this, she smiled and took the orange off, slowly peeling off its coat. Dowadwa have a slice of the orange. The flesh of the orange is so sweet. Dowadwa took a slice of orange and put it in her mouth. The sweet and sour juice immediately dispelled her unhappiness. Suddenly, she remembered that the teddy bear might be under the bed and hurriedly ran to look for it. Sure enough, the teddy bear was hiding there. Dowadwa ran back with the teddy bear in her arms and waved at Cheng Cheng, saying, "Thank you, Cheng Cheng. It's your sweet taste that reminds me of the teddy bear." In the morning, Dowadwa's good friend Lely came to her home to play. The two of them wanted to play the lantern game, but they searched for a long time but couldn't find suitable materials. Paper lanterns were afraid of being blown apart by the wind, and plastic lanterns were too hard. Lely saw the remaining orange peel in Dowadwa's hand, and his eyes lit up at once. "Let's make small lanterns with orange peels. It's round and has a pleasant fragrance." Dowadwa nodded, washed the orange peel clean, and placed a small candle in the middle. Her mother was helping to watch the fire. The orange peel immediately turned into a warm little lantern. The orange fragrance mixed with the candlelight, creating a particularly warm and cozy atmosphere. The two were walking in the living room, holding orange peel lanterns, like two little fairies carrying little suns. Lely smiled and said, "Orange is so amazing. Its skin is even more beautiful and fragrant than the lanterns I bought." At noon, my mother was making a fruit salad, looking for some sweet and sour fruits to go with it. But the apples at home were too crisp and the bananas were too sweet. I always felt that something was missing. Dowadwa thought of Cheng Cheng and quickly said to her mother, "Mum, put Cheng Cheng's flesh into the salad. It's sweet and sour. It must be delicious." Mother smiled and nodded, then broke the orange flesh into small pieces and mixed them with yogurt and grapes. Dad came home from work and took a bite of the fruit salad. His eyes lit up. "Why is this salad so appetizing? Especially oranges. They are so delicious." Dowadwa said proudly, "Because this is orange. It's the sweetest little sun." In the afternoon, the sky suddenly turned overcast and the light in the room dimmed. Dowadwa's little cousin Dodo came to visit and was a little afraid of the dark, curling up on the sofa and not daring to move. Dowadwa remembered the sweetness of the orange and quickly went to the fruit basket to take another orange. After peeling it, she handed it to Dodo and said, "Dodo, don't be afraid. Look at these orange segments. Don't they look like little crescent moons? Take a bite, it's sweet, and you won't be afraid of the dark anymore. Dudu took the orange slice, took a bite, and the sweet taste gradually made her less afraid. She and Duaduo also folded small paper boats with orange peels and put them in the water basin to play with. Sister, oranges are so magical. They can be eaten and played with. I will call it Orange Orange from now on. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the living room an orange red. Duadwa washed the orange seeds clean and placed them in small plates. She wanted to plant the seeds in flower pots, waiting for a small orange tree to grow next year. The family gathered around the dining table, sharing the remaining oranges, one petal after another. The fragrance of oranges filled the entire room. Dad patted Duwadwa's head and said, "Look, one slice of orange isn't much, but when we all eat it together, it becomes particularly sweet, right?" Duwadwo nodded and picked up another slice of orange, feeding it to her mother, right? Like orange, sharing is the greatest joy. When the moon rose, Duadwo planted the seeds of the orange fruit in a flower pot and placed it by the windowsill. She lay in bed, looking out of the window at the moon, as if she saw orange turn into a real little sun, smiling at her in the moonlight. The room was quiet, with only the sound of the evening breeze brushing against the curtains. Because of orange, this small home became warmer and sweeter. Such days were sweeter than the flesh of an orange and brighter than the orange-yellow coat.